For the longest time, I believed I knew who I was. Not because I had thought deeply, but because I had stopped thinking at all. I had a name, a past, a routine. I had likes and dislikes, opinions I clung to, fears I avoided naming. That, I assumed, was me. But it was not. It was only a mask, worn so long that I began to feel like skin. To truly know oneself is not to gather answers, but to undo illusions. The person you think you are is often the very thing standing in the way of who you might become. And the most dangerous prison is the one built from your own certainty. There comes the moment, if you're honest, when the scaffolding begins to creak, when the self you've been propping up starts to tremble beneath the weight of all the things you've ignored. That's when you are given a choice: collapse or kneel. Radical humility is not weakness. It is not bowing to others. It is bowing to reality. It is saying, I was wrong about myself. I don't know what I'm capable of. I don't even know what I'm afraid of. That admission hurts. It tears at the scaffolding of pride. But that wound is sacred. That pain is permission to begin again. The path to greatness begins with confession. I am not yet who I could be. There is a violence to the true self-awareness, not in action, but in attention. Watch yourself coldly, carefully, with the eyes of a stranger, like a hawk or a snake, not out of cruelty, but precision. Notice what you say to impress. Notice the roles you play when you are afraid to be sincere. Notice how you justify procrastination, how you disguise your fear as choice, how you avoid things that might actually change you. Most people live as sleepwalkers. To watch yourself without flinching is already to wake up, and no one wakes up without first being disturbed. You do not need to shatter mountains today, but you must stop worshiping the false idols of comfort, image, and control. Do something you've avoided, something slightly beneath your pride. Pick up the phone, call the person you wronged, or the one who wronged you, but who still lives in your mind like an unfinished sentence. Not to win, not to lecture, but to make peace. Apologize if it's time. Forgive if you can. Or simply tell the truth. I don't want this silence to be the end of the story. This is how you make your life whole again. Not by being right, but by undoing the knots of ego, pride, and folly that have kept your soul tangled for too long. This is not self-improvement. It is self-dismantling. Only when the old structures fall, when the ego is no longer the tyrant of your inner world, can something deeper, quieter, truer begin to speak. You will not like everything it says, but you will begin, at last, to recognize the voice. The self is not a finished sculpture. It is a field of tension. It is a question that never quite settles. And if you're willing to look, truly look, you may not find something more powerful or more heroic, but you might find something more honest. And that, strangely enough, is where real strength begins.